You must come to Melbourne. We need you. When I came here for some other purpose, I felt the vibrations of Melbourne are really very good. And here, it is quite possible that there may be many seekers. It's really gratifying, as I said, to be here among you. It's a fact that the time has come for thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of them who are born as seekers on this earth have to get their realization. They have to know their meaning. They have to know why. The nature has made them human being from human. What is the purpose of their life? Unless and until you find the purpose of your life, you are not going to be happy. You are not going to be satisfied. You may try anything else. You may have aroused ego trips. You may have other trips like seeking money. You may have other things like going to drugs, alcoholism, revolution, all kinds of things. But these things are not giving any satisfaction to anyone. You have to find out that absolute, without which we are in confusion. That absolute is within you. That's why Sahaja Yoga is a spontaneous thing, is a living thing. Sahaja means with, Yoga means born. It is born with you. As in a seed, all the maps of the seed that it is going to manifest are within, in the same way within you. Your spirit and your kundalini are all already existing there, and they are just waiting for a chance to give you your self-realization. Before telling you about the benefits of self-realization, I have to tell you that you must keep your minds open as you would for any science lecture or any other lecture. There is no journaling, or there is no shopping in Sahaja. It is happening, it's an actualization. It is within, it's a living force. Like a flower becomes a fruit, or an egg becomes a chick. You get your realization and you become a different personality, a new dimension of awareness goes into you. And this new dimension of awareness is an actualization. It is not just a mere words or any kind of a brainwash. It is an actualization within you which happens by which you start feeling the collective consciousness. You are a part and parcel of the whole. So many have said it. We also believe it, that we are a part and parcel of the whole. But so far, in our awareness, in our central nervous system, we have not felt that. So this actually should happen to you. In this, we have to accept whatever is necessary for our growth after realization. Gradually you start accepting it, and until you buy it happens. But the thing is, in Sydney I found that people are extremely honest about this here, and they really appreciated my honesty. has been built in since long within us. Here that you see different chakras are placed in the chakra. Can you see? Alright. These centers are placed within the human beings and they exist as study centers in the spinal cord and in the brain. These are called in Sanskrit language as chakras. These centers exist within us as milestones of our evolution. For example, the lowest chakra, called as the Muladhara chakra, is the center. At that point, we were carbon atoms. We were matter. At that point, we were innocent. Matter is innocent. So the first thing that was created within us was innocence. This whole universe was created after innocence was created. This chakra is placed below Kundalini, if you see clearly. Kundalini is the pure power of desire. Pure power of desire. Whatever is pure, we call it holy. It's the holy power of desire which remains dormant this power is the desire to be one with the Spirit. Without knowing the Spirit, you cannot know God. You have to be put to the means. You are not yet put to the means. For example, this instrument that we have made. If it is not put to the means, it has no meaning. So that has to happen. It's like the premium in the seed, a germinating power in the seed. That you have got this power, physical power, sleeping, waiting for a moment where somebody who is authorized by the divine and not by any organization or certificates that human beings give. But somebody who is certainly a relaxed soul, as an enlightened person, and he knows what is this power is. It waits for such a personality, and then it awakens itself, and you get your self-realization. It has to be spontaneous. Everything vital in life has to be spontaneous. The breathing that we have is so spontaneously going on that we take it for granted till it stops or till we feel that we cannot breathe. If you have to go and read books or put in some efforts to breathe, then how many of us could even exist for more than, say, 5 minutes? It is so vital. It's the culmination of our evolution. And as the whole creation was created by the divine, as you are also created by the divine, this great happening is to be done by the divine. Now some people ask me that can it not happen by itself to us? We do not know that at every stage of our evolution, some aspect of God had to incarnate, or some guidance had to come from the divine to give us a higher awareness. But especially at this time, it is very important that somebody has to do it. Because you have reached a stage where you have to know it in words and divine has to speak. It's a very common question that I think people are oriented. They say, why are you mother? I said, you better be there. I'll be very happy if you could do it. Because I'm a happily married woman. I don't need anything from anyone. I'm happy to just live. But if you can do my work, I'll be very happy to retire. It's very easy to say why you. I mean, if you should ask God why He gave me these powers. But they are there. But one need not be heard about it so much also. After all, you have so many powers which I don't have. For example, I don't know how to drive. Really, I don't know. I don't know anything, even I don't know how to open ordinary gas. But if I know how to open the Kundalini, why should it hurt your ego? And why should you feel bad? Because I have to live day in and day out to do this work. It's something just a gift to you. There's no shopping. You can't pay for it. It is beyond your control. To conceive God, you have to see as the reality is. You have to do up your conceptions. Supposing I had conceived more before seeing this, I would have funny ideas. But after seeing it, only I really know what it is. In the same way, people have written books, thousands of books have written, or even millions of books have written, so what to do? If you have written the books, have they given you any self-realization? Have they given you that experience of the experience by which you know yourself? You know your centers and you know the centers of others, and you start manifesting your powers. You become the master of your powers. This is what should be the criteria of your seeking. Why should you identify with anything else but yourself? Because other people belong to this cult or this group or this religion or this. But you must understand that you are not here to be leader for anyone other. I mean, you pay them to be their leader. Or to be their lawyers or solicitors, whatever you call them. But you should really try to honestly seek the truth and ask for the truth. And then only you will get the truth. So first thing one should understand that you cannot purchase this divine. You cannot pay for it. It is an insult. It is an insult. And secondly, you cannot put in effort for that. When you have to swallow the seed, what do? You put it in the Mother Earth. And she swallows by herself, spontaneously. It is not that force in it, only you have to put it to the Mother Earth. And the Mother Earth, by her warmth, germinates the seed. Do you get angry with the Mother Earth for that? Why must you do that? She has to do it. She has to do it. Whatever the sun has to do, has to do. Whatever you have to do, you can do. And whatever animals have to do, they do. If you understand that we have not yet achieved what we want to do, then you will realize that there is a very little gap. That the Kundalini awakening takes split of a second. But its rising may take time in certain people because of blockades in the center or maybe some imbalances within us. In short, I will try to tell you what is the Kundalini and what is this picture about. I hope you have got some books with you. You can also open and see for yourself. Those who have got books can also get from that. It would be easier to understand it. At the back of the book you find a nice chart. Firstly, you have to be honest about your seeking. Absolutely honest about it. Then everything will work out. Now here, if you see this chart, is the first center called as the Muladhara chakra, as I said. And the sacrum, see the meaning of the word sacrum is sacred. Sacrum is the bone in which the Buddha being is there. I would like you to see from the top. This blue color, balloon-like structure, comes down up to the first chakra. Now this represents a subtle force within us, which is the power of desire. It manifests outside, the rest is sympathetic nervous system. This is the emotional side of a human being. She is not only emotional. This is one that takes sufficient needs within itself when we say don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And creates by its activity a balloon-like structure called as Supari, which is in Sanskrit called as mana. So this is the power of mana, of mana Shakti. In English language, this is little confused. When you say mental cases, you do not mean the mental cases that has something to do with the mind which thinks. But when we say mental cases, we mean to say that they are the people who suffer from emotional problems. It's a little confusing. But in psychology, it is very nicely described by you who has realized so himself. The super ego. And the lead part is this power by which we get all our conditions within us and we pass it to our past. Beyond this area on the left-hand side lies beyond the subconscious, the collective subconscious. All that is it sits visualized this side on the left-hand side. This manifests, as I told you, that the left is attached to the system. Now in the middle science, there is no difference between the left and right. But you find out that they have entirely two different functions. The left is attached to nervous caters to our emotional side, which can be viewed in the Sahaja Yoga practice. Now, on the right-hand side, there is another power, which is the power of affection. When we desire, the desire has to be put into action. And this power of desire is called the Prana Shakti, or the power of affection, Kriya Shakti, some people call it. And it looks after our intellectual side, our intelligence, and the mind with which we think about the mental side, and our physical side, through which we go into action. This, as a result of this activity, creates another balloon. You can see there, a yellow colored balloon, which we call as ego. Ego. And these two powers meet at a point. When the child is about, say, 12 years of age, he is completely calcified here. But the child will be seen at the age of say 1 year or 1.5 years, you start feeling the calcification of the soft bone walls and continue. In the center is the third power, called as the power of evolution, the power of sustenance, the power of religion, which is innate within us. Now, religion means a capacity, let's say, a quality. Like gold is artificial. That is the quality of gold. Carbon has gold valencies. That's the quality of carbon. In the same way, human beings also have got 10 sustenances. And these 10 sustenances are the dharma or the religions of a human being. It has nothing to do with outside and whatever you believe into or whatever you have fallen into or you are born into. But there are 10 sustenances within us which are in this area called, as we call it, void, but it's not the same void as the name say. But it is the visceral cavity. In this area, we develop our sustenances. By developing our sustenance only, we evolve. For example, first a fish came out of the water and developed a sustenance by it started crawling and it became a reptile. So first one fish came and then shows of fishes started coming out of the water. So the evolution went on like this till we became human beings. In this process, as you know very well, the left-sided and the right-sided animals, the right-sided are the more ambitious, the dominating type. The left-sided are the sly. As you have many nocturnal animals, they are all left-sided. They are frightened, they live in the left. And those who are aggressive are on the right-hand side. They were discarded, even some vegetables and what you call the plants were discarded in the process of evolution. And they were thrown on the right and left side. And God created man in his own image. That means man has everything that God has. If he is the primordial being, he is the microcosm, then you are the microcosm. You have a cell in his body, but you are not aware of that. There's a difference between awareness and just consciousness. Awareness is an actualization. While just to be conscious means mentally you believe rationally you are I conscious, I know that. But really you are brothers and sisters. Now the centers that are placed within the first one, as I told you, is the Muladhara chakra. You may be happy to know that in the universe, Australia is the Muladhara chakra. It's a fact. You will know that. On meditations, you ask a question, you will know. Basically, you are an innocent being. You don't know also when you come in sense that this is sin. You just do it very innocently. You don't do it knowingly. Innocently you do it. And the second center is the center called as Swadhisthana. The first center manifests your pelvic plexus. The right side, as I told you, manifests the right sympathetic nervous system. The center one manifests your parasympathetic, which is broken, which is not yet complete. Whatever you have achieved in your awareness as a human being is there, and there is little gap where you have to just break through into that and become united with that force. Now this second chakra is just a chakra called as Sahaja chakra. We need not worry about the names. But it is the center for action, by which you think for the future, and this center looks after many other viscerals, or you can say organs within us. It looks after your liver. All your attention is looked after by this center. Liver, then it looks after your pancreas, your spleen, your kidneys, and uterus in the women. The most important function of this center is to manifest the outer plexus in the nose and to convert the fat cells of the stomach to replace the fat cells of the brain. Because after all, the fat cells of the brain are to be replaced, because you think, and go mad in thinking. You think so much that as if two horns are coming out of your thinking. You may say the other day that mind is very important because the mind is the problem. Don't you know that this mind is limited? This rationality is limited. You have to go to unlimited. When I have to come to this hall, I have to leave the car outside. This mind can go up to a point, and if you try to go beyond that, then you really go crazy. We don't bring the cars inside. In the same way, this mind cannot take you to the unlimited. It's a limited thing. You have to go beyond the mind. This center is doing this work of supplying the facets. And when you think too much, all other viscerals, all other organs are not looked after or articulated, by which the person who thinks too much, who lives in the future, who plans too much, also then drinks in addition to that as a music. And in addition to that, he does other things like drug eating, the stomach, and he starts of fat food and all that. So he really finishes that poor liver. And that liver is the one that sorts out all your poisons in the body, all kinds of poisons. But this liver gets out of order, and you don't feel it. Only the heat starts accumulating. You feel always nauseating, and you feel so unhappy. You don't want to face the present. You want to run away. If you feel extremely worried, you don't know what to do with yourself. All that comes from a bad liver. Also, apart from liver, your pancreas moves out, and you develop a disease called diabetes. With that, you also rise for coffee and all those things which add up. Having coffee, the amount of coffee people consume, sometimes I can't understand. And that coffee can really spoil the pancreas to such an extent that you can develop even more serious diseases than diabetes of the pancreas. Beyond the pancreas lies the spleen. Spleen is the real victim of modern people. The real victim is poor spleen. Spleen is the one which is the speedometer within us. It regulates your speed. When you are eating your food, you suddenly open the news on the TV or something, horrible things happen. You get so shocked and emergency bleeding. The screen is already busy producing RBCs, red corpuscles, for the digestion of the food. And suddenly it has another emergency, a third emergency, the way we take our breakfast. Half sandwich in the mouth and half outside. Stepping into the car, getting your life and 2 ways to that. And then rush through the rat race, ending up yourself into a very crazy speed. The speed does not know how to carry on with your telescopic behavior. And you get so very crazy that it starts producing crazy cells. And these are the crazy cells which create ultimately a very serious disease called blood cancer. The other day somebody asked me a question about how the children will get blood cancer. I said, if I tell you, you should be angry with me. But when we have altered the life of our children, whoever thinks they are small children, when we are trying to make them good citizens,
somebody has a car park which is causing a problem, but I just... Excuse me. Somebody has a white wall parked near my to here. I knew why some numbers. Could you read it and go away?
so this crazy spleen becomes absolutely uncontrollable. It starts producing blood cells which become malignant. They go at random, any time. And when malignancy starts, when one cell becomes very big, unique, as we are also malignant people sometimes. We want to be unique people in the society, and engulfing everybody, encroaching on other people in this competition. We want to have everything to ourselves. And by the time you are over to find your hands are shaking, your feet are shaking, you can't walk properly, or you develop diseases like say heart attack or a stroke. This is a rat race. It is very competitive. Competition for what? Everybody should be able to grow in relation to others. For example, if your nose starts growing like that, not in relation to your body or face, what is going to happen to the rest of it? To be on your own, I am on my own. And then you start growing without any relationship or coordination with the other parts of the society, other parts of the world, then you become malignant. You don't have plans. You don't know what you're doing. This is the tragedy that when this happens to us, we are so ego-oriented that the plans are not felt till you reach a stage and suddenly find a person who's, they call it in English, one American English. You find him, they can talk, I've seen him. That is, some people, not very old, younger than me in age, walk into a bus, then after we all sorts of French words. When I asked, what are they doing? They said, mother, they are talking about last words. I said, why? They said, they just want talking like this, they want. What did you say? Out of the deck. Because we are having such a running jump towards the head that progress, so called, will make our society into very funny people who are jittery, who are twitching their heads, necks and everything, and their children are so aggressive that it is impossible to understand why they are behaving like this. We have to understand that we are part and parcel of the whole. And anything that is done without the relationship of other can create tremendous problems for the whole world as it is, and it is creating. The second center is very important for modern people, as I told you. Because when you start thinking too much also, what you do, you use the right side. And the left side gets frozen. By improving on your thinking processes, thinking too much of the future and planning, of course most of the plans go waste. Such a lot of energy we waste in thinking. That we find that if you have not thought so much, you will not have been that much frustrated. The planning also to such an extent doesn't help in any. Supposing I have to come to this hall and I do not know the way, what planning can I have? I have to just ask somebody how to go there and I face as it is. Supposing as the seed has to grow into a root, does it have any planning beforehand? It does not. What it does, that it faces, it is itself but so wise. It knows that there is an obstruction, no use fighting with this rock. So it goes around all soft places it pierces, gets itself embedded sensibly and wisely, and uses that rock for the strengthening of the tree. So when we try to dominate others, the sophisticated, the more sophisticated you get, the more sophisticated this ego gets. And with that sophistication, you're very please, sorry, yes, and then all those things are there. But inside a big physical ego is developing, like a balloon. And it presses down your super ego. And it comes down. Now the gap that is between the two, or the place where it should be is not there. And ego presses down the super ego. Till super ego starts seeing the colossal ego. And then such a person takes to escapes. It takes to alcohol, which gives rise to super ego. Or it takes to drugs and all kinds of escapes in life to run away from his own ego in the first time. Now the warmth starts. The ego and super ego start playing, and that's how you get people who are absolutely confused. To the whole problem, the modern times are the ones that in this confusion, last judgment has already started. Through your Kundalini awakening only, you will judge yourself and correct yourself, and you will enter into the kingdom of God. These confusions actually have led human beings to such frantic, precarious stages that Sahaja Yoga had to come on this earth to solve the problems once for all. After getting realization, it's so remarkable when you find your absolute through Kundalini awakening. And I see people overnight thinking about so many things. Like I know of an old man, very old man in Singapore, who is a very well-known, very rich man and a very well-known personality. And he got his realization, and he told me that overnight I gave up my gambling, I gave up my drinking, and I gave up my racing. These are also escapes in life. These are all escapes because we are so bored of ourselves. Imagine a person is imprisoned. If he is just imprisoned in a nice place, he should not feel upset. After all, it's a very good thing to face yourself. That's the most beautiful thing we have. But because we are so frightened of ourselves only, that we don't want to be left alone thinking we are lonely. a bottle of beer or something. After realization, you first time start enjoying each other. You first time feeling the vibrations of another person. And you feeling enjoy the beauty of another person's through this cool breeze that is coming out of the being of that person. And this will happen to all of you. You all should achieve it. It's very important because you are out and out seekers. But first you must have your self-estimation. You must know that you are not here to play these games with yourself. All kinds of games are available. The industries have provided. The industrial revolution has provided. All modern thinkers and the books and all that have got you. Add to it, gurus have come from India to supply this demand market. So the picture is complete. This you should not upset. Because behind all fakeness and falsehood, there has to be reality. If you see thousands of artificial flowers, you must know there has to be one real rose. And in the same way, behind all this falsehood and confusion, there is this reality which is so beautiful within yourself, which you have to achieve through Kundalini awakening. It's not now I will tell you about the other centers, because if you go through this book, you will know about the names and things, but in short I can tell you that the third center is the center of our seeking. It is the center by which we are seeking. It's a naval center. It is by which an amoeba felt hungry. He was seeking food. In seeking food only, we went up to the stage of, say, mammoth and all these big animals, but they were such unwieldy big things that they could not maintain themselves. So when the intelligent animals came in that also, some of them were very horrid ones, like foxes and all that. Then, when powerful animals came up, who had more physical power than their big body, like that, we developed with this seeking up to a point when we became really human beings. And when we became human beings, we started seeking things like possessions. If you have not possessions, like power, in politics, economics, social things, and lastly, the spirit. Spirit is the solution for all of them. Without the light, you cannot see anything is visible. I cannot see you without any light being there. To me, in darkness, you are nothing but darkness. I don't see. I cannot relate one to another. I do not know who are sitting here and listening to me. But once there is light, you can see everything clearly. And that's what it is happens. That when you get your enlightenment, you become the master of yourself. This is the end of the seeking, which starts. In this seeking only, around the seeking, our sustenances are developed gradually. And ultimately we become human beings. And for human beings, there are 10 sustenances described in the 10 commandments. When I talk about 10 commandments, you are a Christian, you are a Christian, you are a Christian, you are a Christian. But 10 commandments were written when there were Jews. They were not written. Moses was not a Christian, he was a Jew, and the Jew got angry with me. He was a Christian. Moses, Abraham, Confucius, Socrates, Muhammad, Nanak, Janak, Lao Tse. These are the primordial masters, the principal primordial masters, the Adi Gurus, who incarnated on this earth to teach us how to keep our sustenance. They talked against strong alcohols and strong things. Christ did not talk, but it does not mean when he said he converted it into wine easy, fermented wine. You cannot ferment wine in your way to understand that. Wine is a very common word. Even today, if you go, you will find a drinker of the drink is called wine, even the juice of something is called wine. Now differentiation has started by grape juice, but it is a very, it's a very, about 50 years back we must have started or something like that, in India. But maybe you're not, I don't know. Even today, many people call it wine. Rakshasa. In England, when Indian language, it is called as a wine. In grape juice is called as a wine. So, there are many other things which these people told us that you should not do to keep yourself in center. Now I divide our mistakes into two categories. The first mistake we have is not to believe that God Almighty is going to look after our well-being. Krishna said very clearly that yoga ksema maham, meaning after yoga, after union with God, I will look after your well-being. That means you should get connected. Suppose I am not an Australian citizen. Why will Australian government look after me? In the same way, if you are not a member of God's community, or if you are not entered into the kingdom of God, if you are not the citizen of His kingdom, He is not His responsibility to look after your well-being. I mean, of course, He has created you, so He looks after. But otherwise, it's not certain that He looks after. People demand so much from God. They think they are already connected. They treat Him as if you can find Him somewhere under the stone. They want your money, please look after myself, please do this, praying morning till evening. I mean, it's destiny. When you are not connected with God, if you go on doing like this, to any human being also, you get arrested. And that's what happens. That we live under this, oh, I have been praying, and God has given me this. And I have been doing this. But we don't see who is a spirit. Are we a spirit? Have we tried to be the spirit? We have done all kinds of things, but to be the spirit. When you are the spirit, then you are really blessed. Really blessed. Not only by His powers, but you become the master of your being and you start manifesting your own powers. This decade and surrounding Dharma, which is looked after by warrior masters, is another center here about that is the center of the Mother of the Universe who gives us the security. These are women spoiled, the security, sense of security spoiled, especially among women. If they feel that their husbands are negligent or they are flirting with other women and all sorts of things, then this center goes out of order. When this center goes out of order, then they develop diseases like breast cancer. Breast cancer is more common in societies where they have divorces. And I have given a regular speech on this, which you should get from Sydney and you will know all about. Now, the right side heart, which you see here, is the center of our father. And the left one is the center of the mother. The right side heart center catches men as a father, you have not done your duty. Or if your father has died very early, you are shocked, then also it can happen. Anorexia and all these diseases can be also caused by this kind of happenings. Or also asthma. Asthma is invariably caused by this center going out of order. The left side is the center of the mother. Our father and mother, we chose. Before our birth, we chose them. It was foolish to choose our parents. We better pay for it. In our lifetime, it is better to pay for the horrible ones, so that next time we won't have them again. But we are not to judge them. If they are not seekers, it's a very difficult thing to live with them, I know. It's very difficult to live with parents who are morning till evening, counting every penny, counting every tins which are emptied, every tube that is emptied, they store up. They are so materialistic. And you just can't bear such people. I get quite confused. Even a wife will be like that and a husband will be like that. It's extremely materialistic to be fed. They write down everything, every lamppost, they must know. Count everything. Today the lady who interviewed me asked me, how many people, mother, have you given realization and how many people you have cured? I said, you better ask the son first of all, how many things it has made to me, then talk to me. I never write any accounts, leave alone of human beings, even of money. I never write. I have no time and I have no understanding of how to write accounts. Next life maybe I will be an accountant for your information. So, this happens to us when we become against our parents. I don't say that you should carry on with bad people. There's no use asking the guru to come and hit you. It's correct. But you need not judge them. You can leave them, stay away, and do not have them in your life. It's all right. But if you are taking interest in them as well as fighting with them morning till evening, then you catch on this hard journey. I would say that in this respect, Indians are sensible people. They're very sensible. They keep their parents all right. And the parents are also yet very sensible people. They love their children. They give everything that they have to the children, and the children start really loving their parents till they die and they look after them. The result of that is of course very bad. Because here, in all the Western countries, the parents are still in a great mood and their rights and the right rules, you see. They never become old enough to be best. Even an 8-year-old man will find marrying an 18-year-old girl. I mean, it's a thing going on all the time. God knows what sort of intelligence is that. But with all that happening, poor children do not know which parents to be chosen. And the last judgment has started. Now what to do? Now you place yourself in their places and think what to do when you know such crazy parents that today they are together, tomorrow they are divorced. On the street they'll be kissing, hugging each other. All kinds of nonsensical things, very embarrassing also. And if you have never going, they'll say we are going to the divorce case. These kind of absurdities are taking place, and because of that, children don't want to get birth in all these places. In England, Germany, Switzerland, everywhere. The birth rate is towards the minus side. In Germany, especially in West Germany, and East Germany, of all things, people give so much money that a woman, if she produces 3 children, she earns more money than their prime minister. But still women don't want to produce. They want to be free, independent, they don't want to be mothers. As a result, this world India has to accommodate for all the children who want to take. And we are blamed for overpopulation. Now what to do? We have to wear the road. So also it is a responsibility to see if you do not produce children, at least those who are producing children have some compassion for them and have some understanding. Do not blame them. Oh, everybody tells me, what about your problem of population? I tell them now, who is responsible for our population? Because in that country, even if you have 14 children, they love all the children that are there. They are not so ego-oriented that their hearts are not closed. They are not so unemotional. Anybody who has no child will go to all the holy places and ask for blessings that they should get children. To get a child is such a blessing in India, and a child is such an important thing. But the mistake they are committing is just the other than the news. The mistake in those developing countries is that they do not believe that God Almighty is the one who is going to look after your well-being. They don't believe in the power of their father, so they do the crime against the father, or they say the sin against the father. When you don't believe in the capacity of your father. So there is bribery, corruption, and all sorts of things going on, cutting corners and money and all these things go. Still in India, we say that ordinary people are not dishonest. Our bureaucrats maybe, our politicians maybe, and business people maybe, but ordinary people are very honest in it. But this is what happens. On the other side, you see, supposing an Indian comes to your house, be careful. He may run away with anything that you have in the house, anything. See? But if an American comes to your house, be careful about your wife. He may run away with your wife or with your daughter. Or say an Englishman comes, he'll do it in a subtler way, because he's a scholar. So he'll read some poetry to your wife, and in the night you find she's missing. This is fundamental. And the wife who runs away like this creates a problem fundamentally for the household. Just stay in a house where there are children, his husband, kitchen, and all the places, everybody is sleeping nicely. Early in the morning they find that the main core of the house is missing and the whole thing is collapsed. What will happen to the children? Nobody thinks. Nobody understands. They think they are in love, so they must go. Men do the same. There's no difference between men and women. But this is against the mother. That the women have to be respectable and as respected. Housewife's position it is within us here on the right side now. And if a housewife, the dignity of a housewife is not in our house, not that the woman, but the house, then our spleen goes out. We get, children will get crazy. Why is this discipline? Somebody asked me today, what happens to the people like Gilgit Ringer, who tried to get a Gilgit Ringer? I said something, ask his mother. She must be after the life of such a morning in the evening. And that's why he is taking action, or is this a reaction of what has happened to him? How do these complications arise? Has a basis in the family, in the nest that is your house. You have to live in the nest as a father and a mother, looking after your children. Children are the most important things in the whole world for human beings. Let the politics go to hell and let the economics take its own course. But children are to be looked after, that's your primary duty. But in India, we go to the other end. When we start looking after our children, we don't mind selling our countries also in the name of children. But we really need to extremes, I feel, that is the sin against the mother and sin against the father. When we sin against the mother, and as Australians, as I am now an Australian, that experience what happens to us. We go emotionally, absolutely we are emotionally blackmailed by ourselves. We torture ourselves, we live with artificial feelings. Like if a wife wants to run away with her husband or a man, we will even go to get a honeymoon ticket for her because we are very considering her husbands. Same thing with the wife, if she finds that her husband is interested in another woman, she should not be jealous. In Sahaja Yoga, this is not very much appreciated. Husband has to be like a husband, he should make his wife run the house. And the woman has to be a woman. She must see to it that no dangerous just do not touch it. We have no business to hurt anyone like this. And we do not know how much we hurt. We give cancers to our wives and husbands. We give all kinds of horrible diseases, mental tortures. We make them mad by our mad, capricious, very shallow understanding of our emotions. If one man starts going to another woman, then he goes to another woman. Then to 10 women he goes, 10 men go to 10 women and end up in the lunatic asylum or in the orphanage. I've seen in India, we had a neighbor who had a very huge house. He died with an old man, and you'd be surprised. They did not disturb his body for 1 month. Because there's no family feeling, nothing. Even a rat doesn't enter the house, can you imagine? This is what has happened in thinking, I am separate, I am individualistic, I am... If you are really individualistic, if you are really matured individually, then you know the unity much better. Then you understand that you are the support of the whole. Because you are so matured. No wonder our children are not maturing. They are behaving in such a manner. We are responsible. We must accept that in our own ideas about compatibility and all this nonsense, we don't have in India. We are quite compatible and we are producing children quite alright. We have no problems. Why you run after these capricious, these shallow ideas? You will be held responsible for all these horrible diseases that men and women have got, and the children that are going to suffer. If you have charity, better start it at home. Better charitable to your wife and to your own husband. Be charitable to your children. Don't go by the concept of falling in love. You fall really and make others fall too. This is a concept. Just a concept. I think some of these horrible people must have given you this concept. If you really fall in love, how do you get to marry another person? You fall, marry another person, again ready to marry another person. You are holding the hand of a person who is supposed to be your beloved or whatever it is, and looking at another one. This concept is absolutely wrong. You have to grow in love. As your own child is, in the same way is your companion. There are two parts of one chariot. One is the left and another is the right. They are not unequal, they are equal, but they are not similar. They have their own role. And women have to take their role courageously to be the mother. As I always say, look at me. I am a mother. And in no way, in any way, I cannot think I do anything better than this. Now, if I start thinking, oh God, I am a mother, all right, but I must know how to drive, then I'm finished. I must know how to drive a bus. I must know how to drive a train. What is the need? I saw one photographer who came to see me. He was supposed to take my photograph, and all his hands were filled with blisters. I said, let me first give you blisters. How are you to take my photograph? I said, what have you been doing with your photography? He said, no, I went to a forest and I got some trees. I said, for what? You are a photographer, your hands are soft and deft. Why do you want to kill the deftness of your fingers? He said, no, we must do other things also. I said, why must you? You see, the nose doesn't do the work of the eyes, and the eyes do not do the work of the ears. Why must you do your hand are all finished? And this is what it is. To us, we feel that men are great, so we start saying that here's to the man's fault. The man thinks, why should women be like this? You are companions. You are eternal companions. You are two beautiful wings of a chariot. This is to be grown and to be matured within you. And when the center is out, You get the problems of this center by which you get asthma, tuberculosis, and the rest of women get asthma, very serious asthma, and other problems of the lungs, and ultimately also lung cancer can develop. When you work too hard with the right hand side, because you are ego-oriented, that the ego develops too much, then your left side is neglected. You become unemotional. That time, your heart gives a signal, you get a heart attack. When you do too much sometimes, they may escape the heart attack, but you may get a brain paralysis. We are meant upon destroy yourselves. The destruction is going to come from within, not from without. Those people who don't try to show you this will happen, and that the sun is doing this, and this is not. It's all within you the destruction has started. You are facing it because you cannot accept it. You have to accept that this is a challenge. I am not going to allow myself to destroy my foolish and stupid ideas that are wrong. And then, in your own estimation and glory, be surprised. After realization, you can enrich it. But without realization, I don't know, it becomes a lecture and a lecture. It's just a brainwash. That beautiful thing should happen to you. And once you find your beauty within yourself, overnight, I've seen people change. Overnight it happens. And I hope that will happen to you tonight. Today I have talked to you about this center. And later on I have talking to you about two other centers which are here and here. And the realization that takes place out of the living area. In the unfortunate memory, which is called as a Brahmarandra, in Sanskrit. Thank you very much. May God bless you.